An incredible hidden truth, how a humble girl silenced a rich Arab with one life-changing horse. Emma Thompson woke up to the sound of soft whinnies and the familiar rustling of hay. The sun spilled into her small room, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. It was a bright summer morning in Maplewood, and to Emma, it was the most beautiful sound in the world. This was her sanctuary, the place she poured her heart and soul into, the family horse rescue operation that, like the gentle horses within, struggled to find its footing. As she stepped out, the warmth of the sun wrapped around her, filling her with hope. The scent of freshly cut grass wafted through the barn doors, mingling with the unmistakable earthy aroma of horse manure and hay. Emma brushed her clothes, picking hay off the sleeves of her faded flannel shirt. She loved these moments, but the weight of her family's financial struggles cast a long shadow over her heart. Her friends dreamed of city lights and college lives, while she dedicated her days to the rescue horses, clinging tightly to her belief in the American dream, a powerful notion of hard work leading to brighter tomorrows. But the peace of their humble lives shattered one morning as news arrived that Khaled Al-Farsi, a wealthy businessman from overseas, set his sights on Maplewood. His plans for a luxury resort dangled like a tempting carrot, and conversations among townsfolk picked up like wildfire. Their community, once united in care and resilience, began to crack under the pressure of the allure of prosperity. Emma could see the worry etched across familiar faces, her neighbors, who had poured blood and sweat into their lives, rooted in shared values and memories. Feeling the tension, Emma stumbled upon an extraordinary stallion during a stormy night. She named him Spirit, a magnificent horse with a wild mane and a heart that echoed her own. Spirit represented something more than just a horse. He symbolized hope, ambition, and unyielding potential. As she trained him, Emma forged a bond that filled her with purpose. The townsfolk rallied around the rescue, sharing tales of their dreams dimmed by hardship. Stories of perseverance ignited Emma's spirit, making each moment in the stables all the more electrifying. Yet as Khaled's plans advanced like a freight train, Emma faced a monumental decision. When a tempting sponsorship opportunity dangled before her, one that could chase away their worries, she found herself conflicted. Could she put her family's legacy and the community's essence on the line for fleeting success? Before we continue, she said to herself, shaking off the doubts, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emma stood under the stars one evening, her gaze landing on Spirit, heart racing with newfound determination. Driven by love and the heart of her community, she organized a charity show featuring Spirit. The idea pulsed with possibilities and attracted media attention. As anticipation grew, Emma sensed the weight of judgment when Khaled arrived, his smile slick with ambition. The moment was electric. Emma's heart raced as she found courage she never knew existed. You think everyone wants your dream? She challenged, facing Khaled. Words poured from her, as powerful as the horses she loved. She revealed the depth of their struggles, the moral complexities behind ambition and heart. Caught in a tidal wave of emotions, pride for her roots, the allure of individual success, and a desperate need for familial reconciliation, Emma held fast to her beliefs. Secrets about her estranged father threatened to surface, raising stakes she never imagined. As tension mounted, she stood amid the crowd, ready for the showdown of her life, filled with questions that would alter everything. Could she bridge the gap between her father's past and their present without losing herself or her community? The air buzzed with tension as the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the bustling crowd. People gathered around the makeshift arena, chatter rising and falling like the stir of wind among the trees. The community that once seemed so firm in its values now stood divided, drawn to the glimmer of Khaled's promise. Yet, right in the center of it all, Emma felt a spark igniting in her chest. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to anchor her thoughts. Spirit stood beside her, calm and poised, as if sensing the weight of her heart. His warm breath touched her skin, grounding her amidst the chaos. "It's us versus the world, isn't it, boy?" she whispered, brushing her fingers through his mane, her resolve crystallizing. As she paced around the arena, the whispers got louder. Laughter shared between viewers felt misplaced. Emma glimpsed a familiar face, her friend Jess, teetering between admiration for Khaled and loyalty to Emma. Jess offered a small smile, but Emma could see the conflict in her eyes, a reflection of all she feared. "Emma, it's just a show," Jess called out, her voice barely breaking through the murmurs. "You could save everything for your family." The words stung. Did they not grasp that this was not merely about money? Emma shook her head, clenching her fists. "It's about our roots, Jess. About more than just survival." The determination in her voice shattered the momentary silence. Khaled smirked, stepping forward, waving to his affluent friends, flashing charisma that could both entice and terrify. "You speak of roots, but we are makers of the new world," he insisted, voice smooth like velvet. "Join me, Emma. What do you gain by clinging to a dying dream? More horses? A crumbling barn?" Those words lingered, slithering into her mind. Emma could feel the shift among her neighbors, their faces showed doubt. But buried deep inside her was a fury ignited by pride and a refusal to let Maplewood be swept away. "My horses remind me what it means to fight. You talk about wealth, yet they walk free and strong." Suddenly, the air felt thicker. People leaned closer, and Emma could sense their curiosity morphing into admiration, their hearts connecting with her fight. Their stories merged in the heat of the moment, every loss, every struggle resonated loudly within the shared silence. Even Jess, once hesitant, shifted her weight forward, eager to embrace the rallying cry of resistance. Emma took a step, her pulse quickening. "This isn't just my fight, this is our fight," she shouted, feeling the heat of her passion. "These horses are worth more than 1,000 hotels. We are Maplewood. We are family." Fire surged through her veins, turning fear into unwavering strength as the crowd responded with soft gasps that filled the air. Khaled's smile faltered, but he masked it quickly, shuffling back into his facade. The onlookers shifted, their allegiance teetering as doubt gripped Khaled's smooth confidence. In that heroic moment, Emma unveiled the truth she kept hidden, standing as a beacon, a humble girl challenging the lavish dreams of a mighty man. But as the night deepened, uncertainty lurked in Emma's heart. Her struggles weren't over. What had awakened in the crowd's eyes would soon be tested. What would this victory cost? As questions brewed, Emma didn't see the figure approaching through the shadows, her father, long estranged and carrying the weight of his own secrets. He wasn't just a forgotten name anymore, he was here. And in his presence, the stakes rose higher than she could ever have imagined. Emma's heart raced as she locked eyes with the man who had been nothing but a ghost in her memories. Time had etched lines onto her father's face, but the stormy, familiar blue of his eyes seemed unscathed by age. She felt every breath shallow, her fight for Maplewood momentarily suspended in the shock of his sudden appearance. "Dad?" The word slipped from her lips, barely above a whisper. A flurry of emotions swirled within her: anger, confusion, hope, and a deep, lingering sorrow. Hadn't she spent years battling the void he left? He stepped closer, his expression a mix of regret and urgency. "Emma, I know I don't deserve your attention," his voice cracked, struggling against the weight of his own past mistakes. "But I'm here now." As the crowd continued to murmur in the background, Emma's focus sharpened on him. "You left us." She shot back, the pain bubbling over. "You abandoned everything we fought for, and all for what? Your own dreams?" The crowd's attention shifted, this personal moment stirring their curiosity. Some whispered among themselves, their eyes darting between father and daughter, the tension thickening like fog. "I was wrong," he said, the regret piercing through the bravado of their earlier exchange. I thought I was doing what was best for us for Maplewood. But I learned the hard way that money doesn't replace what matters most. Emma wanted to scoff, to throw his words back at him. What did he know about sacrifice? But something in his pained expression wrestled with her anger. The truth hung in the air between them, heavy and unresolved. Why now? She demanded, her voice shaky with emotions. Why did you come back? After all this time? He hesitated. The regret in his eyes deepened, but he squared his shoulders. I heard about Khaled. I came to help. Her heart twisted. Was this mere pride? Did he think his return could magically erase the past? Help how? By telling us more about how to sell out? She spat the words harshly, her breath quickening. No! He shouted, striking a nerve in her desire for something more than betrayal, by offering the resources and connections I have. But more than that, I want to help you protect Maplewood. I want to fight with you, Emma. For a moment, she was stunned into silence. She glanced back at the crowd, who were now hanging on every word exchanged, some faces mirroring her own struggle with doubt. Was this a genuine desire for redemption? Khaled, noticing the tension shift, stepped back into the light. A wry smile danced on his lips. Oh, isn't this a sentimental reunion? His words dripped with mockery. How touching. But tell me, he addressed Emma's father with an air of challenge, what do you know about fighting for anything but yourself? The tension escalated. Emma felt her courage beginning to break. She faced her father, searching for a flicker of strength in his eyes. Can we count on you? She whispered, afraid of the answer. Yes. He declared, stepping forward, determined. I may have been lost once, but I'm ready to help you take a stand now. The crowd shifted again, the tension coiling tighter, curiosity blooming into a powerful force. Emma felt her heart pounding, the stakes soaring. But as she met her father's gaze, the shadow of doubt lingered. Would they truly fight together? Was this a new beginning, or just another deception? The answers hung in the air, and uncertainty loomed over her. Emma realized something vital. The upcoming clash wasn't only against Khaled but within herself as well. She had to decide, was she ready to embrace her past and step into a future filled with both hope and fear? Just then, a stirring in the crowd rippled outward as someone else emerged from the shadows, a figure Emma never expected. The murmurs escalated into an unsettling hum as the figure stepped into view. Emma squinted against the bright sunlight, her heart pounding in her chest. For a second, she couldn't believe her eyes. It was Lily, a girl who had shared her childhood dreams, the one who had gone missing years ago without a trace. Lily? Emma called, astonished. Her heart leaped with recognition. But joy quickly warped into confusion. The girl who had once raced through the pastures with her now bore the scars of struggle, the fire in her eyes replaced by a steely resolve. Emma. Lily's voice was both familiar and distant. She moved through the crowd, her presence drawing them in. I didn't think you'd remember me. Of course I remember you. Emma exclaimed, fighting the surge of emotions rising in her throat. What happened? Where have you been? I've been fighting, she said bluntly, her gaze shifting to Emma's father. I've seen so much, and I know how Khaled operates. Khaled, noticing the shift, laughed dryly. And what would a girl from Maplewood know about real power, anyway? You think your little community can stand against me? His words lashed out like a whip, but Lily stood her ground, arms crossed defiantly over her chest. You underestimate us, Khaled. This isn't just about money or power anymore. You've hurt a community that fights back, and we're ready for you. Emma felt the fire igniting within her at Lily's words. She turned to her father, searching for the strength she so desperately needed. Can we trust her? Is she truly on our side? Lily stepped closer, her eyes fierce. I know you're torn. But together, we can rally everyone, bring them together. We can protect Maplewood. The crowd stirred at her confidence. Their murmurs shifted from skepticism into curiosity, as hope began weaving through the crowd like a flickering flame. Emma began to feel it too, the growing sense that they were building something larger than any one of them. I lost everything when Khaled took over my family's land, Lily confessed, her eyes shimmering with intensity. But I've gained something in return, a purpose. I want to help you take a stand, Emma. Khaled didn't miss a beat, his eyes narrowing. And what of your father, Emma? Are you really going to let a ghost lead you back to the past? Because I'll tell you this, the moment you take a misstep. You won't get that chance, Emma snapped back, her voice steady. Khaled, you don't know us. You've underestimated how fierce we can be. And now you have a choice: leave Maplewood or face the consequences. A tense silence filled the air, punctuated only by the distant rustle of trees. Emma could feel the energy of the crowd, a pulse building stronger as they rallied behind her words. Together, we can rise up. Lily's eyes gleamed with determination. Just then, a sudden shout broke through the silence. Everyone look! Someone cried, pointing down the main street. Emma turned instinctively as a herd of horses galloped toward them, their hooves pounding the ground in a rhythm that echoed like the drums of war. She felt her heart skip as a magnificent black stallion broke free from the herd, charged straight towards her, and stopped just inches away, snorting and stamping its feet, wild and proud. This is it, Lily said, breathless. This is our sign. Emma met her gaze, her pulse racing with newfound excitement. Could this be the strength they needed? As the powerful animal stood before her, something shifted within Emma. No longer was she just fighting for herself or even for Maplewood. She was fighting for everyone who had been lost and left behind. And in that moment, she knew. Their battle was just beginning. But as the crowd surged forward, eager, a deep thud of uncertainty rolled through her. Could they really harness this momentum? Could a simple horse lead them to victory? Emma watched the stallion, breathless with hope and fear. What would they become in this fight against Khaled? Would they succeed, or was this a new lie hiding in the shadows? The stallion stood tall and proud, its mane flowing in the wind like the very spirit of Maplewood itself. Emma reached out a trembling hand, her fingertips brushing against the sleek black coat. She felt a spark, a promise of something greater than herself. Everything starts now, she whispered, mostly to herself. Lily stepped closer, urgency etched in her features. Emma, we need to rally the town. This is our moment. If we can inspire them, we can make Khaled understand he's not welcome here. Emma nodded, but the weight of her father's worried gaze remained heavy on her heart. What if they won't follow us? What if it's too late? Lily's eyes softened, the fierceness replaced by a gentler understanding. They're scared. Just like we are. But if you step forward as a leader, show them you believe, then they'll find courage in you. The crowd had begun to silence, the thudding hooves of the herd still echoing in their ears. They needed to feel it, whatever it was that had drawn her here, that made this place worth fighting for. Taking in a deep breath, Emma straightened her back. She felt the warmth of resolve wash over her. Everyone! She shouted, her voice cracking through the anxious murmurs. Look at this beautiful horse. This stallion represents everything we fight for: the land, the community, the hope that has been buried by Khaled's greed. The crowd shifted, eyes wide and glimmering with something Emma hadn't seen in years: hope. Today, we stand united. Emma continued, feeling the warmth of adrenaline rush through her. Every one of you has a story, a reason to be here. Together, we can take back what is ours. Together, we can fight. Lily stepped beside Emma, raising her hands. We're not just doing this for ourselves anymore. We're doing it for everyone who still believes in Maplewood, for our families who have suffered. This is our fight." The energy surged, washing over the crowd like wildfire on a gusty day. People leaned in closer, faces full of expectation. Emma's heart raced. This was the moment she had imagined her entire life. "Are you with us?" "Yes." The crowd erupted, and with that chorus, the ground vibrated as people stepped forward, bold and determined. Khaled stood stiff, his expression shifting from contempt to disbelief. Unfazed, he stepped closer. "You think this is enough? A little horse and a pretty speech? You're naive, girl." But Emma refused to back down. "Naive?" she called back. "I may be young, but I know the power of a community. I know what happens when we stand together. You'll see just how strong we can be." The stallion snorted, as if echoing her challenge, and Emma felt the beast's spirit blend seamlessly with her own. "Let us gather everyone. They need to be part of this," Lily urged, her enthusiasm contagious. As the crowd began to disperse, quickened by a sense of purpose, Emma suddenly glimpsed a familiar face, Mason, her childhood crush, standing at the back with an anxious look about him. His hands were shoved deep in his pockets. There was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes, and a knot formed in Emma's stomach. "Mason!" she called, desperation clawing at her throat. "Come help us. We need you." But instead of moving towards her, he remained frozen, looking torn, conflicted. She had always believed he would stand with her. The doubt threatened to smother her newfound confidence. And as she watched him hesitate, she realized there was more at stake than she had first understood. If they were going to succeed, everyone needed to believe, even those who had doubted in the past. The air was charged with anticipation as Emma's eyes locked onto Mason's. Would he join them or remain a bystander? What would happen if their bond was tested in ways neither of them could anticipate? This was only the beginning, and the stakes were higher than ever. Emma's heart raced as the crowd around her buzzed with newfound energy. But all her focus was on Mason, standing stubbornly at the back. There was a churning in her stomach as she remembered their shared laughter and dreams, the countless afternoons spent with wild imaginations under the stars. This wasn't just a fight for Maplewood, it was for everything they had once believed in together. "Mason, please. We can't do this without you." She tried to convey the urgency in her voice, praying he could see how critical this moment was. His eyes flickered with temptation, a desire to join them against the overwhelming tide of Khaled's plans. Nonetheless, fear was etched deep into his expression. "Emma," he began, voice low and uncertain. "What if he retaliates? What if he wins?" His worry seeped into her, cold and sharp. All around them, the crowd was stirring, voices rising in determination. But for Emma, every cheer echoed like thunder in the distance against her own self-doubt. She forced a smile, though inside she was wrestling with a raging storm. "That's exactly why we need you. Everyone can feel it, they're ready to fight." Mason took a hesitant step forward, and just as hope ignited in Emma's chest, Khaled's laughter sliced through the air. "How touching," he sneered, thrusting his hands into his pockets. "You really think a few kids playing hero can stop me? You're all deluded." "Deluded?" Emma shot back, finding her footing again. "We're not afraid of you. You may have power, but you don't have the heart of this town. That means everything." She glanced over at Lily, who gave her an encouraging nod. Emma took a bold step forward, her chin raised. Around her, others stepped closer as well, forming a united front. It was a beautiful sight, a patchwork of determination and anger woven together against oppression. Then, almost out of instinct, Mason began to walk toward her. As he moved, the crowd shifted, whispering in excitement. His face was a mix of determination and fear, but he pushed through it. "I am with you," Mason finally said louder than he intended as he approached. A wave of relief washed over Emma, almost dizzying. Behind her, the crowd erupted in thunderous applause. It was surreal to see him here, standing beside her when she least expected it. The atmosphere was electric, and Mason's presence felt like a lifeline. But Khaled, now visibly irritated, quickly stepped back to reassess. This won't end well for you. People like you don't survive against power. Emma met his gaze head-on, fire blazing in her eyes. Maybe you underestimate the power of faith and a community united. You can't silence us any longer. With a roar from the stallion behind her, she felt every ounce of courage swell within her. They were ready to fight. They could rally the town. It felt like a force beyond what she could put into words. Mason looked at her, catching her gaze, and she saw a flicker of belief ignite in him. But would the town share the same conviction? The stakes were climbing higher, uncertainty folding into their reality. Amidst the rousing battle cries, doubt still lingered at the edge of Emma's mind. They could face Khaled on the outside, but what about the hidden fears within them? And would those doubts grow if they had to confront a reality far beyond their expectations? As she looked back toward the gathered crowd, she realized this was only the beginning. Would they find what they needed to stand strong when it mattered most? Everything hung in the balance, and victory seemed too close, yet so far away. What other revelations were waiting for them just beneath the surface? The din of the crowd surged around Emma as she stood shoulder to shoulder with Mason, both of them now facing Khaled's intimidating presence. She could feel the tremor in the air, a mix of anticipation and anxiety wrapping tightly around her heart. She glanced at Mason, searching his face for any sign of doubt, but all she found was grit, a determination that drove away the shadows of fear. "Let us show him what we're made of," she whispered, bolstered by a shared resolve. Lily stepped to her side, fueling the fire. "Together, Emma. We stand together." Khaled's smirk faltered for a split second, giving Emma a glimpse of uncertainty beneath his arrogance. But it vanished as quickly as it appeared. "You think this is a game? Do any of you really know what you're up against?" "We know exactly what we're fighting for," Emma shot back, voice ringing clear. "You may have wealth and power, but we have each other. We have this town." Behind her, the crowd began to chant. It started as a whisper, one voice joining another until it erupted into a chorus of determination. "Maplewood! Maplewood! Maplewood!" The town's name echoed across the square, resonating deep within Emma's chest. She could feel it, the heat, the unity, the urgency. Without thinking, Emma did something she hadn't planned. Clutching Mason's arm, she shouted, "Let us march. This is our home, and we won't let it be taken from us." The energy turned from static to dynamic. People surged forward, inspired by their courage. Mason squeezed her hand, now a part of this erupting charge. "Lead the way, Emma," he encouraged, his eyes alight with fervor. As they battled forward, facing Khaled's growing fury, Emma's spirit soared higher than ever before. This was not about bravery alone, it was about awakening a sleeping giant in their community. They weren't just standing against Khaled, they were reclaiming their futures together, but Khaled wasn't backing down. "You think your little games will work? You'll rue this day," he called after them, voice laced with threats. "You're nothing without your precious traditions. You'll fail. That's where you're wrong." Emma cried back over her shoulder. "Our traditions are our strength. They are the thread that binds us." Suddenly, Khaled unleashed a command to his guards, pointing towards the approaching group. "Stop them," he ordered, but even as they moved, Emma felt a pulse beneath the chaos. The strength of their convictions grew like wildfire. The guards hesitated, glancing at one another. It was clear they weren't prepared for the sheer emotion radiating from the crowd. Emma, feeling the pulse of hope around her, steeled herself. "We're not backing down," she yelled, channeling the spirit of the townspeople. The realization surged through her, a glimmer of truth in the chaos. Maybe they needed to show not just their strength, but the depth of their commitment to each other and their home. But what would that look like? Emma's mind raced. They needed a sign, something that would turn the tide in their favor. In that moment, she thought of the stallion, the embodiment of freedom roaming just beyond the rosewood barn. What if he could lead them? Mason! She shouted, pointing toward the barn. I know what we need. Follow me. As she dashed toward the horses, the crowd moved with her, drawn by her fervor. Khaled's frustrated shout faded into the distance. This was their moment to harness every ounce of spirit they had. Would the stallion fight alongside them? Would he hear her call? Emma pushed forward with hope swirling inside her, a fierce determination burning bright as they approached the barn, ready to unleash something the townsfolk never expected, but what happened next would shake everything they thought they knew about courage and hidden truths. As Emma raced toward the barn, her heart pounded in rhythm with the chants of the townsfolk. She could almost hear their collective heartbeat, a powerful reminder that they were all in this together. The sight of the barn loomed ahead, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. The walls stood sturdy, a symbol of the resilience of Maplewood. Just a little further. She encouraged the crowd behind her, a wave of determination swelling up inside her, cresting as they charged forward. The cheers of Maplewood surrounded her, echoing her own fervor. They burst through the barn doors, the air rich with the scent of hay and the earthy undertones of horses. Emma scanned the stalls until her eyes locked onto the majestic stallion, coat gleaming in the dim light like polished ebony. He stood tall, a figure of grace and strength, clearly aware of the chaos outside. Maverick! Emma called, her voice catching in her throat. The stallion turned towards her, a sense of recognition dancing in his expressive eyes. She took a breath, willing herself to remain steady. We need you. Behind her, Mason stood, his eyes wide with awe as he watched the proud animal. Are you sure he'll come with us? He asked, barely audible above the crowd. Emma nodded, her focus unwavering. He knows us. He knows what we're fighting for. With quiet determination, she stepped into the stall, reaching out slowly. The stallion hesitated but then took a step closer, his breath warm against her palm. Emma felt a spark. This wasn't just about reclaiming their town anymore, it was about unity, trust, and bravery. Maverick, will you help us? She asked softly, and to her delight, the stallion nickered in response, as if he could sense the urgency of the moment. When she mounted him, a sense of exhilaration washed over her. The crowd fell silent, eyes wide with expectation. They had rallied together, and now they were seeing leadership materialize right before their eyes. The feeling of hope coursed through her, contagious enough to feed the souls around her. Let us make our stand. She called, her voice ringing true as she turned to face the gathering crowd. Today, we show Khaled that we are not just a town, we are a family. Mason joined her side, raising his fist in the air. Together. He echoed, igniting the crowd once more. Out of the barn, they rode, Emma steering Maverick with a sense of purpose that matched the rising surge of people behind her. As they approached the center square again, she felt a swell of pride. This moment transformed not just her but everyone who believed in Maplewood. Then she spotted Khaled, who stood with a growing look of confusion and disbelief as the crowd surged behind Emma, empowered, a sea of determined faces glistening in the dusky light. Stop this madness! Khaled shouted, his voice cracking slightly, as if the confidence he once wore had suddenly faded away like mist under the sun. Emma tightened her grip on Maverick, her spirit unraveling a tapestry of courage and strength. This is our town, Khaled. You can't take it from us. But he sneered, an edge of desperation creeping into his voice. You think one horse can change everything? You'll regret this. His words were met with silence. The townsfolk seemed to hold their breath, uncertainty hung in the air like a thick fog. But Emma felt something crack within her. No. It's not about the horse, she shouted back, infusing every bit of emotion into her voice. It's about us. Our hope. Our unity. But what would it take to truly turn the tide against Khaled? With the stallion beneath her and a whole community at her back, Emma realized that the answer lay in something deeper than just courage. Suddenly, a ripple of electricity surged through her. Would they be able to connect all the threads that bound them together, or would fear pull them apart? One thing was clear, a moment of truth was on the horizon, and everyone would witness what came next. Emma looked out across the crowd, her heart racing in tune with the swelling hope. It was time to stand tall and claim what was theirs. With the weight of history behind them, would they find the strength to push through, or would they unravel in the face of Khaled's might? Emma scanned the anxious faces of the townsfolk, their eyes flickering with uncertainty and resolve. Khaled stood like a looming shadow, his arrogance wavering as the tide of emotional energy surged around them. It was no longer just about the land, it was about their identity, their stories entwined in the very fabric of Maplewood. "Maverick," she whispered, her heart sinking with the stallion's powerful heartbeat beneath her. She needed him to feel the urgency, just as she felt it. "They're counting on us." The stallion shifted beneath her. The warm breeze rustled through the crowd, carrying a distant murmur, a blend of fear, hope, and desperation. Everyone was ready to echo her call, but she needed to harness their voices, gather their hopes, and turn them into a force that could not be ignored. Khaled, however, was unmoved by their spirit. "I have wealth. I have power. You are nothing but a disorganized bunch, clinging to nostalgia." His voice boomed, ricocheting off the barn walls as if to drown out their aspirations. Emma felt a fire ignite within her. "We're not a nostalgia, Khaled." Her voice pierced the heavy air. "We are a community built on love and hard work. You may possess material things, but you cannot buy the bonds that tie us together." Cheers erupted from the crowd, a wave of defiance washing over the square. Mason raised an arm, rallying their spirits. "We are Maplewood. We stand together." The chant began again, louder now, a rhythmic percussion of Maplewood. Maplewood. Each pulse of sound sent shivers down Emma's spine. This was it. She could feel the transformation igniting in the hearts of her friends and neighbors, something beautiful was blooming in the wake of Khaled's disdain. "Maverick, let us give them something to believe in," Emma urged, her voice steady. She squeezed her legs against the stallion, urging him forward. The majestic beast sprang into motion, stepping boldly ahead, hooves thundering against the wooden floor of the square. As they moved forward, Khaled's bravado faltered. The fire in Emma's heart mirrored the dancing embers in the eyes of her neighbors. She raised her fist high, feeling it like a beacon. "We will not back down." The crowd gathered around her surged, their voices roaring in a chorus that could rival a storm. For Maplewood. For Emma. They were no longer just spectators, they were part of a crucial moment. Emma could see Khaled's composure cracking. The arrogance draining from his face revealed something else: fear. Fear that this small-town girl and her trusty steed could unravel everything he believed to be true. She was more than he had anticipated. A memory flashed through her mind, the late-night stories her grandmother told her about bravery, kindness, and the unyielding strength of the community. Now, those lessons came rushing back, fueling her resolve. But amidst the glimmer of triumph, doubt lingered. Would it be enough? Could they truly come together against such overwhelming odds? Emma felt the weight of history on her shoulders, and it was both exhilarating and terrifying. "Together, everyone!" Emma shouted as she reached the edge of the crowd, Maverick sidestepping nervously. "This is our home, and we will fight for it." But suddenly, from amongst the thrumming voices, a figure pushed through, an unexpected ally from the depths of the town. Emma's heart skipped as she recognized the familiar face. What would this new arrival bring to the battle? The barest flicker of hope ignited within her, but it also drenched her intention. Who had stepped forward from the crowd now, and what revelation did they hold that could shift the tide in this escalating standoff? As the figure emerged from the crowd, Emma's breath caught in her throat. It was Mrs. Harper, the town's beloved librarian. The usually gentle and unassuming woman stood tall, her graying hair glowing in the fading light, a fierce resolve etched on her face. She held a banner made from old quilt scraps, the words stitched into it shimmering with vibrant colors, "Together we rise." "Emma!" she called, her voice clear and strong, cutting through the murmurs. "May I speak?" The crowd hushed, all eyes on her. Emma felt a spark of recognition ignite hope within her, and she nodded, encouraging her to continue. Mrs. Harper stepped forward, her expression fierce. "You are right, Emma. Our memories, our traditions, those are our treasures. Khaled doesn't understand that this community, our Maplewood, is built on love and perseverance, not just profits." Khaled scoffed, crossing his arms. "You really think this quaint little gathering can stand against my resources? You speak of love, but love doesn't pay the bills." His voice dripped with condescension, but Emma felt a collective surge of indignation ripple through the crowd. "I may not have money to offer," Mrs. Harper continued, raising her voice with unyielding determination, "but I have seen firsthand what this community can achieve when we stand together. We've built our lives with non-monetary wealth, friendship, courage, and relentless spirits." Emma looked at her, awe washing over her heart. Each word resonated like a battle cry, igniting something primal within the townspeople. They weren't merely fighting for land. They were fighting for what made Maplewood home. She felt the power of their unity echo in her bones. "Let us show Khaled what we can do," Emma shouted, the thrill of motivation surging through her. "Together, we are stronger than anything he can throw at us." Cheers erupted, and she could see Mason's face beam with renewed energy. Together, they were ready to confront the challenges ahead. Khaled's confidence wavered, and for the first time, he seemed uncertain. "You're just a bunch of kids with fanciful ideas," he retorted, but the edge in his voice betrayed his unease. "No, Khaled," Emma stepped forward, clenched fists at her side. "We are not just kids. We are a legacy, and each of us believes in something worth protecting." Maverick snorted, echoing her resolve as he stepped backward, sensing the tide of emotion swelling around them. The crowd surged again, voices harmonizing into a fierce chorus of unity for Maplewood. "For Emma." "Enough!" Khaled snapped, but his fury only matched the resolve of the townsfolk. "You all stand on a precipice of failure. This dream you cling to is just a fading whisper. You will regret this day." But doubt slipped through his bravado, like sand through fingers. Emma noticed that many in the crowd began to shake their heads, arms folded, eyes narrowed. They were unwavering. They had lived through hardship, fought through loss, and now they were ready for a new chapter. "Let us take this to the heart of our community," Emma dared to suggest, excitement bubbling within her. "A parade. We can showcase who we are, our spirit." Gasps of surprise drifted around them, then murmurs of excitement. "Yes." Mrs. Harper chimed in, her face alight. "Let us bring the heart of Maplewood out into the open. Show Khaled that we will not hide or cower. We will march with pride." The enthusiasm was infectious, and soon there was laughter and chatter about color and spirit, murals and banners. Emma's heart soared at the anticipation, buoyed by shared dreams and rekindled bonds. "Gather everything, dear," she urged, addressing the crowd. "This isn't just a display, it's a declaration. A celebration of who we are. We're not backing down." Khaled, frustrated and confused, stepped back, hands flailing like a child denied a toy. "You can't be serious. This will solve nothing." But even as he protested, his voice trembled, hinting at panic brewing beneath the surface. With every proclamation of unity, Emma felt the weight shift. They didn't just have spirit, they had collective strength. The townspeople connected their stories, their struggles, and together they forged an unbreakable bond that would resonate like thunder. As the preparations erupted into vibrant energy, Emma stood astride her stallion, Maverick, feeling lighter than air. The growing anticipation knotted her stomach, igniting a sense of purpose that surged through her more than any worry ever could. "Let us do this," Mason said, stepping beside her, the warmth of his smile wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. With hearts beating as one, they rounded up supplies, laughter and the clamor of shared work buzzing through the air. No longer were they simply a group of individuals, they were a formidable force, rising to meet the challenge that Khaled had underestimated. As dusk fell over Maplewood, the town glowed with hope and the promise of transformation. It felt like they were standing on the edge of something monumental. They were not just reclaiming their home. They were reclaiming their lives, their dreams, each other. And as Emma looked upon her friends, her heart full, she knew it was time to show Khaled that hope and unity could never be bought or silenced. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with a brilliant tapestry of reds and oranges. The air tingled with electric energy and the realization hit her this was just the beginning. They were ready, and nothing could stop them now. Together, the fight for Maplewood would not just be a struggle but a transformation. It would be a triumph that echoed through time. In that moment, she found peace in the face of uncertainty. They wouldn't just stand and fight, they would rise together unbroken, unyielding, and entirely unstoppable. So, let the battle begin. Now. If you've been inspired by this epic journey, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support, it really makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this fight for hope and unity. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.